What up, everybody? Let's go. Christi Maga.
Nino America.
Let's redo that. It's kind of low. Here we go. And we are live. What up, everybody watching across the globe? We are here in Southside Midland. I got to turn it up one more time for your mind. Okay. Christi Maga, how are you, sis?
Nino America, I am doing okay. How are you?
Pretty good. It's been a while. We should have left you.
It has been a while.
Yeah, shout out everybody out there. We're trying to get it in, y'all. We got a lot to talk about. It's been a crazy ride for your boy Nino America, Christi. We're going to try to do our best today to give y'all some of the best, I would say, breaking news. This right here is going to be a little bit different than a lot of my other lives, but I'm going to be honest. Christi, if you can share this to Defend Midland, please. This is going to be a live that's going to be more of a watchdog type vibe because, I don't know, it just kind of happened naturally. I started like really paying attention to my city a year ago, back 2 years ago. I've always kind of been involved, but as of late, we've uncovered a lot of corruption and just straight up wickedness and evilness, oh my. And so it's kind of made me somewhat pivot my content to what, I'm doing, and here we are. But what I do want to tell you is if it's happening here in old jolly Midland, Texas, Christian conservative so-called Trump town, right? It's probably happening in your backyard. And I've always said it, Christi, real MAGA is this, your own backyard, right? What's happening in your city? Do you know who your mayor is, who your city council members are? Christi, give a quick intro as to what you've seen dealing with the corruption and the varmints that we deal with on the regular in Midland, Texas. Go ahead.
So, so it was really wild to me whenever somebody pointed out the other day that we have been working together. I mean, like six and a half years now. Time really has flown, but in that amount of time, I remember you, standing up to different protests and things like that. But to become like the most hated by your leadership because you're asking questions is just it's just so mind-boggling to me to listen to these people that try to throw you out or arrest you or whatever for freedom of speech. Things are getting bad there, and I think it's been bad for a long time. I just think they have a group together now that's bringing all this to the forefront, and I cannot wait for everybody to see what's going to happen.
Ooh, me too. And I'm gonna be honest. I gotta state this real quick because shout out I'm gonna say Doreen over there. I'm gonna leave it at that. He's trying to push his narrative, y'all, that I'm anti-police or I have a war against the MPD. That's not the case. I'm gonna state this clearly right now on my platforms, on all that I'm streaming. I'm streaming on multiple platforms right now. But look, I'm not anti-police. I back the blue, but I back the blue that backs the Constitution. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I do not stand for corrupt police that violate the Constitution. I stand for the citizens of the United States of America, and I stand for law enforcement that is righteous and backs the law and the Constitution. So,
absolutely,
little Stewie over there, you need to quit with your little how do I say it? It's like he has a slander campaign saying that I'm going against the police or I have a war against the police.
I mean, he always says that, Nino. He comes to you and he does everything in such a passive aggressive way and all of that. He's not nothing and is never going to be nothing. Whatever he said, people need to do the opposite.
10-4. So anyways, with that, y'all, there's a lot going on. We're going to go to the first thing here. We are on my page, hit page group, should I say. And again, for the people that say that I do this for money, clicks and views, my group, Defend Midland, Christi, do groups make any money on Facebook?
Absolutely not. I have my hometown Facebook group. I have had it for over 7 years now. It has about 35,000 members, and I have not made one dime off of it. You make zero money on groups. Zero. Nothing. Yep. You cannot be monetized.
So the group is basically to highlight local issues. We are a watchdog group. And like I said, I've gotten into this more often because, my city's going to crap. What kind of conservative Christian would I be if my backyard's on fire and I'm here just posting all day about national politics or even about Trump? Yep. Trump's my guy, right? But at the same time, I don't sit here and just hang on everything Trump says or does or even national politics. To be honest, it's kind of boring to a certain extent. It's not my passion in life, right? I'm a father, I'm a Christian, I'm a husband, and a podcaster, YouTuber, whatever you want to call me. But the point is, I've been highlighting things in my city. I've done it for a long time. Now I've really narrowed it down. And especially after I've seen this movie, man, I can't wait to plug this movie, but it's the one with Cooper. Christi, if you can give me the actual name to that movie that I sent you. I want people to watch it when you get a
Let
chance.
me look.
But it's what kind of helped me. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. Just the way the police deal with me at the council meetings, especially as of late, I'm like, for real. I'm not backing no police that are tyrants, people that harass private citizens, kick us out of these public meetings at the behest of the mayor and these crooked politicians that take millions of dollars and use it for their nonprofits. I mean, these people are getting exposed. So I don't sit here and back up officer or a chief just because they're in that position. I will respect them if they respect the law and they respect the Constitution and they respect the tax-paying citizen, okay? I'm going to be honest. This video that I'm fixing to mention in a minute, it has a lot of corruption from my area. There's a guy here, and we'll touch on that real quick. He went viral a long time ago before you even would go viral. Basically, he would post this. Let me just say right now, what's his name, Christy?
It's Never Get Busted by Barry Cooper.
Okay, somebody shared this in my Defend Midland page. Y'all check this out. This is the first post I have here. Sounds like someone I know. Tulsa County Sheriff's deputy has been arrested and fired after investigators say he punched a handcuffed inmate multiple times. The sheriff's office says the incident involving Andrew, whatever, happened Sunday after the deputy was bitten on the hand. Well, I ain't gonna lie. If someone does that, I don't know what to tell you. You're pretty pissed off. But the point is, this, Christy, before I talk about this Cooper, don't this guy remind you of somebody punching somebody that's handcuffed? A minor. That's coming pretty soon. Christy, quick tidbit of info about that.
So
don't say too much.
We're good. Yeah, we're just going to be bringing a lot of things forward. The people that are against us think that we're doing all of this as a smear campaign and all of that. That is not what this is about. This is about making Midland whole and making sure that the community survives and has great leadership. I will let you know that the Midland Police Department is lacking very bad on training. That they have punched juveniles who were in handcuffs. Asked officers that were on probation to change up incident reports, make it look like that those things didn't happen. And we have proof of all this. And all I can tell you is just stick with us because it's coming.
Okay. So we just wanted to highlight that. Anyways, back to this movie. This really opened my mind. What we've been realizing as of late, y'all, is there's heavy corruption in my city. It all started from the Midland College bond. I bet you they're saying, I wish we would have never took away that golf course. It started with ranch lands, Save Ranchland Golf Course. They took a historic golf course away from the citizens in Midland, and I want to say it's a land grab. They sold it. There had pipelines under this historic, legendary golf course, and they sold it to this company or whatever back to the city. That's a whole other weird deal. And they're building with our taxpayer dollars. They lied. Reagan Hinojosa, Energized Midland, said that our taxes would not go up. That was a lie. And they're building two huge high schools in my city. One is on top of Ranchland. Anyways, I got involved in that. Have you ever heard me talk about this before? This is what happened. I got involved with that at the tail end. I couldn't really help much, but from there, I started going to the council meetings. Then we found out about the bonds, the Midland College bond, which they wanted to fund with taxpayer money. Now, if you don't know this, y'all, it's because I didn't really know this either, how bonds work. Bonds, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown on what a bond is. It's what the Bible says, bondage, okay? If your city introduces any kind of bond, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care what it's for. I don't care what they say it's for. If it's a bond, vote against that bond because all that is bondage and debt. And these bonds, they keep you broke. They put it on your taxes, especially on your property taxes. In Texas, it's a big deal. And what happens is, me, like most West Texans out here, I don't check the tab, sis. I started doing it whenever Biden got in office, and, it's kind of tough right now, too. I ain't gonna lie. But the point is, I never checked the tab. My wife pays all the bills, and I didn't know about my property taxes. My wife would just send the payment, but it's wrapped up in your mortgage payment. So that's why a lot of us don't really see these bonds. But once I saw it, my wife showed me my house payment was going up, my mortgage, I always looked at it, and there's like a school bond, old bonds, all kinds of bonds that they put on the tax-paying citizen that usually have to vote on, and it's basically a tax on your property, okay? So the point is, if you don't pay attention to your mortgage bill and you just pay the payment and the bonds are in there, you'll never know unless you look. Unless you already paid your taxes off and you're already trying to retire, you're older, and all you do is pay your taxes, I'm pretty sure you'll be more inclined to look at your end of the year statement for your taxes. Point is, a bond is bondage, and I'm against all of them. I did reaction videos on bonds. Bonds basically are scams because most of the money, like these new schools, they go to like lobbyists. They go to people that are a part of like
Hmm.
somehow have their hands in the cookie jar. I can't explain everything
Yep.
perfectly, but most of the money, or a lot of the money, should I say, goes to different entities and different people that put their hands in the cookie jar. Okay, they promise you this beautiful school. They promise you all these parks. Guys, a city's job, I'm gonna tell you right now, is to deal with a couple things only. It's very simple as a conservative, fiscal conservative Christian here. Um, they're only supposed to deal with utilities, police, and like the streets. Once your city starts getting involved with parks and or I would say entertainment, what else? Stadiums, even the school situations. It's another bad deal. These bonds that they get involved in are going to keep you broke until you croak. That's just how it works, y'all. So vote against any bond. Long-winded point is bonds are debt and they're bondage, y'all, and they're a bunch of fluff and they just rip off the tax-paying citizen and you pay for it until you go. Because usually these bonds are like 30 to 40 years. Okay, anybody
Yep.
watching? I'm talking about Midland, but this right here happens across the country. Okay, they're issuing bonds to pay for stadiums, entertainment, stuff in your city that you might not ever go to. My kids are homeschooled. They ain't going to no public school. And we got to pay for this for 30 to 40 years plus interest, trillions upon trillions of dollars. That's the point, y'all. It might happen in Midland, but it's happening in your city. Thank God with the Midland College bond, we were able to stop it. I did a whole press run. We were out there passing out signs, block walking, door knocking, doing all kinds of things. I took a picture with the bum on 191 to raise awareness. I was out there standing with my sign. We did a vote no campaign, and thank God we voted it down. But the sad part is only Midland and Odessa. We made history. Out of all Texas, so many bonds got passed in that little cycle, and it was like it was in a weird time. I believe in May. I forgot last year. In a weird time when nobody knew this was happening. This stuff happened in a weird election cycle. So what ended up happening? Most people didn't know about it, and a lot of bonds across Texas got passed, except for Midland and Odessa. These two cities right here were the ones to vote against these bonds and this huge debt that people were trying to put on us from this Midland College, all this other bullcrap, woke college like Midland College, whatever. But the point is, we stopped them. San Angelo got screwed. They're right down the road. A lot of little cities, a lot of cities in Texas got screwed with these bonds on these deals that a lot of them didn't even know what was happening. I think one place, sis, it went viral. They voted on a bond with like two people voting and put the whole city in debt for
Wow.
millions of dollars. This stuff, I mean, think about it, y'all. If no one knows and no one cares and no one shows up to vote in these local elections, which matter more than your national elections, I will be honest, who's going to know if you don't know? So that's what
I
happened at
would
one of these cities. Go ahead.
I would like to see everything that has been signed and passed through Midland and how many of them always come up 7-0. How they're always in agreement with everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talk about the council, right?
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everything that's
That's
passed and everything.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me continue on my little story here, y'all. So we stopped the Midland College bond, and I'm not gonna take credit for that. I'm just gonna say I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna be involved in this crap. I'm voting against it. But the point is this: Midland College bond came through, and then from there we started digging around the city. And I don't care what anybody says, especially with the police department. They can say what they want. Hey, shout out Stewart's in the chat. I'm gonna tell you right now, Stewart, this is not a war against the Midland Police Department. This is a war against corrupt police. So if there's any police that are corrupt, oh, trust me, we already got the info. Hey, Christy, keep talking. This is my mechanic right here. I got to get this real quick.
Okay. All right.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Okay.
My bad, y'all. Christy, MAGA in the building. Sorry, y'all. Business. Bristy, you there? Yellow.
Are you there?
Okay, no, I'm a mechanic. Sorry, y'all. Business, baby. Let's go. So back to what I was saying. What we know, and I don't want to say too much on here because they're watching us, but all I'm going to say is we know a lot already. I'm not going to say how we know, but we know. And trust
And
me.
it's not
Hold
just
on,
a
hold on,
lot.
hold on, Chris. Let me finish my little spiel for my buddy Stuart. I
Okay.
like Stuart. He said that him and my wife. He met my wife the other day. He thought my wife was you. Oh, I forgot about that. He was mad. Stuart was somewhat upset because you told him something very, very crazy, which I don't doubt that, Chris. You probably told Stuart off. Let's be honest.
Sorry, don't tell him what I
Okay.
said.
All right. I told Stuart, hey, he saw my wife and he said, no, he's been mad at my wife. I don't want to say too much. And then my wife told him, no, Stuart, my wife said, we like Stuart. For some weird reason, we like Stuart because he's a good journalist when he was working for the paper. And my wife clarified that she never said nothing bad about him. And he's like, ain't you Christi or something? He's like, no. I'm like, that's my producer. My wife has nothing to do with my content. He thought you were my wife, sis, and he was mad at my wife. Anyways, long story short, I ain't trying to be too personal here, but the whole thing got worked out, and we spoke to Stuart. He's a good guy. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Even though we're at odds, hey, he's with the city. We're over here. That's what it is. I do respect Stuart Doreen to the utmost. I'll leave it at that. Does it get on my nerves? I'm gonna be. Let's be honest. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. He gets on my nerves a little bit here and there. Okay,
And
but
your not wife does not like him. So there you go.
okay, so the point is, we cleared it up. But I want to tell Stuart and everybody listening, it's not a war against the police. I'm going to say this before I pass it to Christi. We found out a lot of stuff. So from the Midland College bond to the city, we found corruption. John Norman, they can say what they want. The city attorney, I don't like that guy. He's basically saying that it's not conflict of interest, but I think it looks really bad. John Norman, councilman, voted for the Omni Hotel, which they use our money. We believe it's illegally funded hotel, the Omni, with Midland Development Corporation taxpayer money. Woo, that's a big mouthful of words there. They use money that's from the MDC, that's our taxpayer money, economic development corporations. I'm against those as well as I'm against bonds. But our EDC, our economic development corporation, is funding in part the Omni Hotel. Y'all saw when I went viral and I went over there and protested against the hotel being built. I said, use your own damn money. Quit using our freaking money. Are you going to give me a room here? You ain't going to give us nothing at this hotel. Point is, John Norman voted for the Omni Hotel. RIP Dan Corrales, he was against the hotel because he saw what it was, using our money for a private venture. That's socialism 101, picking winners and losers and then using our money. But the point is, John Norman, his nonprofit, this is not, they can't get me for slander. This is what happens, y'all, when you start paying attention. John Norman, District Representative 2, councilman from District 2, he voted for the Omni Hotel to use our money to get funded. Come to find out, John Norman's nonprofit Roundup got $2 million of money from the Scarborough Foundation. Who sits on the Scarborough Foundation board, y'all? Dan Horn, I forgot his name, Dan Horde, whatever. Dan Horde, Dan H, he is an investor in the Omni. Y'all catch my drift here? Dan Horde, Dan H, I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to say the wrong name. He's an investor in the Omni. He sits on the board of the Scarborough Foundation, and his foundation gave John Norman's nonprofit $2+ million for John Norman. And John Norman voted for the Omni. So let me ask you, that's like LV Brown. Is somebody sitting on any kind of board going to rock the boat? LV Brown got $50,000 in fees waived for his property for his church. He's such a good Christian pastor that he got $50,000 waived from the councilman members. John Norman did it too. He voted for him to get it waived. And LV Brown got more than a half an acre of a right of way given to him, public land, for free. And hold on, Christi, hold on. Let me finish real quick. And then, who's LV Brown? LV Brown sits on the board of the Midland Development Corporation. So don't tell me that LV Brown, he's like John Norman. They're not going to rock the boat. They're going to vote the way they want to vote. Let's be honest, for what suits them the best. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to be slandering nobody. But everything I've said to this point is the truth. LV Brown sits on the board of the MDC. John Norman and then voted for him to get his fees waived for that land, and he got half an acre of land for free. And when it came to the council, situation, he never went. He sent his co-pastor and a representative, and his name never got brought up. We never caught it when they were talking about it until later we found out what happened. And I raised a big old stink about it, me and my people. And then LV Brown admitted on camera when I pressed him at the event for the Omni. He said that he didn't want to go to the council meeting because he didn't want that to be how do I say it? Says he didn't want to influence the council because he's on the EDC to get that land for
Mm-hmm.
free, which he did already. John, they already knew it was his church. Okay,
Yep.
so LV Brown sits on the board of the MDC, gets free land, and gets $50,000 plus of fees waived. Christy, do you think that they would? Yes or no? Would they give Nino American land and waive my fees?
Absolutely not.
No, they try to arrest me at the council meetings. Let's be honest.
Right.
So LV Brown does that, and then John Norman, like I said, he gets $2 million plus from the Scarborough Foundation, and the Scarborough Foundation has Dan H, who sits on the board, and Dan H is also an investor in the Omni. Boy, it takes a while to understand all this lingo and how it works and connect the dots. But let me ask the city of Midland, if Stuart's still in here, am I lying? Anything that I said this far, am I lying about it? The connections I made, am I lying about that? I'm not. So the point is, we start digging into all this, y'all. And this is happening in our city. And if you have an economic development corporation in your city, I'm pretty sure it's corrupt. And the same thing's happening there. Because what they do on an economic development corporation, they take a certain percentage of every penny, every dollar spent, they put it into a fund, and they go use it for whatever they want. Okay? So point is, and that's taxpayer money, that's your money. Point is, we start digging, sis, and we see all these connections, weird connections. The mayor, Lori Blanc, got 50,000 plus from Saheed Anwar. Who's Saheed Anwar? He gave money, one of Greg Abbott's biggest donors.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is a
Pakistan.
Pakistani-born Muslim. He's
Yep.
he's an honorary Muslim of the foundation, whatever. We did whole videos on it. And he gave Lori Blanc 50K. The rest of his family gave her 40. She got 90,000 from the Anwars in Midland, oil tycoons. And then Robin Poole got 25,000. Amy Stretcher Burka got 30,000 from Saheed Anwar. So they want to get mad at Nino America. Why they mad at me? That I'm a Christian. I will never take money from Saheed Anwar, from somebody that's from Pakistan. I'm just going to be honest with that. Why would I take money from someone from Pakistan, you know? But they took the money from the Pakistan man. And I'm a Christian man. Oh, I wouldn't take money from him. I'm just going to be honest. Why would I do that? Why would Lori Blanc and them take money from him, right? But the point is, they took money from him. We pointed it out. They got mad. Lori Blanc, the mayor of Midland, went on the radio and basically threatened me and said that I need to be stopped and I shouldn't have a microphone. I documented that. The point is, the city of Midland's mad and angry that Nino America focused my attention on them. And now we connect the dots, we follow the money, and we're trying to drain our swamp locally. And it's a big old mess. Go ahead, Christy.
So here's a question that I have for you. Whenever LV Brown was given that free land and the waiver of fees, how many days before that did you all have to go about a drainage tax, drainage fee? Would it have been smart to sell it to the lady that wanted to buy it, that had property there, and help the residents of Midland?
So she's talking about there's a lady that didn't sell out. LV Brown has a big old plot. We documented it in the south side of Midland. Me and him got into it. Y'all ain't gonna lie. Yeah. And just because someone's a Christian, I'm gonna be honest, I'm an independent, fundamental, King James Bible believing Baptist, baby, straight up. And my theology doesn't always align, of course, with other Christians. That's just how it works. I'm not trying to be divisive. It's true. So LV Brown, I think he's a non-denom. We call him non-denoms, right? His church probably gonna look like a club. I don't know. It's gonna be smoke machines and all that stuff. You know, I'm old-fashioned. Put him at the piano. Let the old lady sing. She can sing okay. Let her sing for 10 minutes. Let the choir sing for 15 minutes, and let's go to the preaching. That's the kind of man I am. I ain't trying to sit there, you know, like at Elevate in these other churches for 45 minutes, you know, singing and 10 minutes of preaching, or just walking around in your tight jeans, Sheldon Riley. I digress. The point is, Sheldon Riley got this whole lot of his church, and there's one little slither of land, and a woman owns that land. She actually went to the council meeting, and I felt bad for her. I did a video. They basically laughed her out of there. She spoke up for that land and said that she would like the right of way behind her. And to be honest, we got people in here. I think they gave 2 parts of land to LV Brown, and 1 part was actually really belonged to the city. The last little corner, but they don't listen to us. No matter what we say and what we bring up questions, they don't listen to us, but they're freaking corrupt as hell. There's a little sliver, a corner lot that she wanted the right of way to there, and they even gave that to LV Brown. So the point is, it's a right of way, okay? John Burkholder, that coward, I'm gonna be honest, that liar, should I say? He was the guy that said that he would go in there and help drain the swamp. He lied to us, right? He's part of them now. But John Burkholder said, "Oh, I saw the land. It's not worth nothing. That thing is huge, sis. They're gonna put a big old parking lot, and it is a right of way." But I said, you know what? We got such a good city manager we ain't talked about yet, Tommy Gonzalez, right? Why can't Tommy Gonzalez? Why can't he, you know, do some kind of deals? He likes to work for Pecos. They fired his ass. And Kermit, right? But why don't he make a deal with the land, and why don't they finagle something? No, they wanted to give away to LV Brown. But the point, back to your question, the woman went up there, asked if she could buy the land. They laughed at her, basically. She left the council meeting. And she was
Yep.
never seen again. I went by her house trying to interview her. I couldn't find her. But the point is, somebody else owned a piece of land and they wanted the right of way. And they actually told her to ask the church. They told that lady, ask the church. Maybe the church will give it to you or something. I'm sure Elvie Brown, he's such a great man that he's going to give that land away to that lady. Yeah, right. But she went and asked for it. She said she had the money to buy it, and they laughed at her and they kind of just dismissed her. She sat down and then she left, and we don't know what happened with her. Anyways, Christy, let's go to the police. So check it out. Check this out, everybody. We're gonna go deep in this one, y'all. So this is what happens to us, right? Right here, if I can get over here. This is the stuff that got everybody on fire right now. Besides my meme I dropped on myself, everybody thinks I'm in jail, Christy. Right now, they think they're gonna do a GoFundMe, but this is what happens, y'all, when people don't pay attention and you got a corrupt city. Check this out. Boom. My wife told me about this, y'all, and we went to the city and we raised a ruckus about this. Okay, now let's continue. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all what matters in your local elections, y'all. People are on Nextdoor, of all places. They ban me there quick. They don't let Nino America talk. But my wife told me that on Nextdoor, this ain't the only post, that there's a lot of people on Nextdoor asking about their water bill. And it's very sad, Christy, that they don't know. We did videos on this. Me and Judd Campbell. Shout out to Campbell, some of the best patriots in Midland. They're real fiscal conservatives. Shout out my Catholic brethren out there. I'm going to be honest. We went to the council and they wanted to give us a drainage fee. This is the gift that keeps on giving from the high school. Okay? The high school bond somehow was shorted on the drainage or the infrastructure. Some crap like that Tommy Gonzalez was yapping about. So instead of going into the rainy day funds that Midland has, they created a drainage fee. So this drainage fee, you would think it's tied to your house as far as what water you use, or, you got a leaky slab or something. No, it's not. This, and Tommy Gonzalez admitted to it on the stand. This is his part of his plan. It's like $20+ million, if I'm not mistaken. They are taxing us a permanent tax called a drainage fee. Has nothing to do with your property. Has nothing to do with the water you use. Has nothing to do with your leaky toilet. Regardless of what everybody's saying on Nextdoor, that's what they think it is. No, this is taxing every square footage, every inch of Midland. They tax us to pay for the high school drainage and infrastructure. So this is a problem. And you look at the comments, y'all, they're saying that, what is it, Christy, the toilets leaking, using too much water. This woman said, I was checking my water bill and it went up to $124. Has anyone on here had their water bill go up? Made me mad. It's myself and my husband. I called and all they said is, according to the meter, we're on tier 4. So in the comments I have it, I'm not going to click it, but I have the different tiers. I'm an informed voter and I voted and I wanted to vote on this. They didn't let us. I spoke against this. The point is they have different tiers. And if you're considered commercial or your residential house is a big house, you're going to pay more money. The ones that really got screwed on this, sis, are the businesses. Why? Because the businesses have bigger buildings and their stuff went up to $200-$300 extra a month. And the point is, like a bond, when you read it, it's in the fine details. This drainage fee, West Texas, is permanent. This drainage fee will never go away. And I think we already had one. But this is what they do to us, y'all. This is what our sorry-ass mayor and Tommy Gonzalez and all our elected officials, John Burkholder, that freaking guy, this is what they did to us. And we went to this council meeting, about 20 people, and some of them were our rivals on the political spectrum. A lot of people went and spoke against this drainage fee, y'all, because we know what it's going to do to people. Because think about it, sis, Costco, Walmart, anybody with huge square footage, they're going to get put on the 10th tier. Who are they going to pass that fee on to, Christy? To the customer. We're getting taxed every which way. Over 20 people went and spoke against this, and they did not listen to us. They listened to Tommy Gonzalez, John Burkholder, all of them voted to raise our taxes with the drainage fee, which we believe is illegal. This right here, we should be able to vote for something like this. They didn't let us vote. They just finagled away like they always do to give us a drainage fee and to tax us into oblivion. And people are saying all the time, we can't even afford to live here. The mayor don't care. Mayor Lori Blanc don't care if you live here, if you want to retire here. All she cares about is growth. I believe in degrowth at this point. Our city is freaking dangerous. So, anyways, this is the drainage fee. I have the actual numbers in the comments. Check it out on Defend Midland. It's very sad, sis, that people are, confused. A lot, and on Nextdoor, people, I had like 30 comments on Nextdoor. They don't know what's going on. But we already knew. We've been telling the public and we've been telling the mayor and everybody that we didn't want to pay this, and they made us pay this it's for the high school. Anyways, point is, this is what's happening in our city. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And this is where we're at currently with these people. Now, we're going to go to the police in a minute, y'all, but this is what we're dealing with. Okay? We're tax-paying citizens. We're Christians. We're not violent or aggressive. Yet when we go speak, they kick us out and treat us like criminals, right? So we're going to get to the police in a minute, y'all. But the point is, here we are paying drainage fees and illegal taxes that are put on our property taxes for the square footage of our houses and our businesses. This is disgusting. Go ahead, Christi.
I just don't know how much more can be passed on to citizens. I talked to you about this the other day. We have workers on every level. We have to have those gas station attendants. We have to have, the cashiers at Walmart and all those things. How are these people going to afford all these fees, all these taxes, everything that just keeps getting pushed on you all? It's ridiculous. $300 a month is a whole lot of money for somebody's water bill to raise.
Exactly. And let me clarify myself. It's Dan Horde, and he owns the Headlock, and that's the investment firm in the Omni. It's crazy, sis. And Christi, what's the info you had about the police? Now, before I say too much more, y'all, we know. I'm going to say it like that. We know. Christi, what's the deal with the shortage of police? Because how can we, police a town that wants to grow when we have crime going crazy, which we haven't even talked about the shootings. We just went viral all over the United States because we had a motorcycle gang shootout and a beatdown all in another damn shooting within 12 hours of itself. Multiple shootings in Midland, Texas in the broad daylight, and even at 2 a.m, y'all, almost in the same 12 hours. What's the deal with the police, Christi? What have you found out about our police situation? Because the mayor and other people try to say that we got a lot of police and we're stocked up, but I talked to some good police, and they said that we are struggling, and we have a lot of crime. We have hybrid gangs. We got cartel activities, and we have a shortage of police. Christi, what do you know about the police in Midland, Texas?
So, first of all, I'm going to take it back just a little bit. Shandy and you and everybody had talked about the shortage of the police presence in Midland. How many? I can't remember what the percentage was that you all were down compared to where you needed to be. But, people feel comfortable reaching out to me, to you, to other people, and wanting the story to get told. All I can tell you is this: is that morale is down in the police department of Midland as far as it can go, according to some Midland police officers. So what we have is they're so understaffed that on a good night, there are 6 to 7 night shift officers. And that probably, I don't know if they do 12 hours, 8 hours. I don't know how they do their split shifts and all of that. And then evenings usually has 4 to 5 police officers, but they go home at 2 or 3 a.m. So from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., the only people out there are the night shift police that is over all of Midland at nighttime. So if anything was to happen, a bad accident, God forbid, an explosion, God forbid, some kind of biohazard, whatever, you are so limited on police officers. But what gets me is how many they got sitting in meetings waiting to arrest y'all.
We're gonna get to that. We had about 10. I couldn't count it because they're going in and out. They're hiding in corners. We had at least 10 for sure, easily 10, if not more. I don't know if Stuart in here can give me the correct number, but we had at least 10 police at the last council meeting trying to arrest us. Went viral. 250,000 views on my Instagram, 30,000, 40,000 on TikTok. I filmed it all. It's horrible. Listen to what Christi said, y'all. That's why I noticed this. In Midland, you used to have a reputation that Midland was a strict city. If you did anything in my city, God bless Gary Painter, God rest his soul. But if you did anything in Midland, Texas, they will catch you. It was a strict town. Our motto was come on vacation, leave on probation. Hello. And it's changed. Because now I tell my wife we're riding down the street going from north to south, and I'm like, where's the police at? You used to be able to see so many police around the city. You know, they will catch you running a red light. There be people getting pulled over. Now you drive around Midland, you hardly even see police driving around. So Christy's here saying that from what we know, what we've heard, is that there's not a lot of police out there, even especially at night. So
Nope.
I'm going to be honest, when I drive around, I don't see police like I used to, and even in the daytime. I digress. Someone said the screen is blurry. Y'all, it might be a little bit blurry here, but if you get a chance, go to the Facebook page, Defend Midland, join us, and you can look at this more clearer. All this is basically showing someone, complaining about their water bill, and it ain't how much times you flush that toilet, ma'am. It's because Tommy Gonzalez figured a way, concocted a maneuver to make you pay for the new high schools, even though they already bonded us on those illegal taxes, I would say. Point is, Midland already created, I'm going to give some quick points here. Midland already created a storm water utility in 2018. The drainage fee is based on property size / tiers. New higher rates went into effect February 1st, 2026. And reports say the fee increase is about 145%. How do I do that?
Wow.
Anyways, 145% increase. The city says the fee pays for drainage, streets, gutter, water runoff, and flood prevention. Reports say it also tied to infrastructure needs around the new MISD Midland High project. Guys, let's be honest. All cities flood. You cannot fix a drainage issue, y'all. That's just how I was told this
Nope.
by a good buddy out there in Amarillo, the Patriots over there, or is it Abilene? I forgot which one it is. I think Amarillo. Is it Amarillo? I digress. The point is, your town's gonna flood every now and then, and there's really not much you can do about it. So they lied to us, y'all. This thing is tied, like I said, to the MISD, the Midland High project that they already taxed us on. Everybody, reports say the fee is projected to raise about $3.25 million in first quarter 2026 and $4.6 million in the first quarter first quarter of 2027. Commercial properties can pay way more, with top tier large properties reported around $539 a month, and it's forever. Forever. There's no end date. So there it is, y'all. It's horrible. It's crazy. They call it a drainage fee. People call it another bill. Hello. So, anyways,
Dino.
go ahead.
So it says that the estimated population for you all is anywhere from 138 to 143,000 residents. I would love to see somebody to divide those numbers into the numbers that you just gave of how many millions it's going to cost, and show an average of what everybody's getting ready to get hit with.
Good point. Well, let's go into another situation. What Derek Smith did. If you look at the averages, I don't know if you can do it right now, but I'll have it up in a minute. The average for how many police per 1,000 residents, I believe, it's crazy. I would say a fiscally conservative number, we are 100 short. But if I was really honest, I would say we're about 150 officers short with the population we have in Midland, Texas. That should be very alarming. And I don't care what the city, the mayor, I mean, these people control the freaking media, the news stations. They're all in cahoots together. I'll leave it at that. But they always say that we're safe, crime is down, yet we're probably on the conservative level 100 officers short for our size of a city. If you get a chance, Chris, you can look up the numbers. I'll have them up here in a minute. But the point is, we are at least 100 officers short for how many people live here. Midland, Texas, I don't care what nobody says. It's freaking dangerous. We got zombie addicts walking around Florida Street going to the Breaking Bread, getting free food, harassing my parents, harassing my daughter. My daughter and my family can't even go to these restaurants on Florida Street. We got a Midland Skid Row. You want to see a Midland Skid Row? Go down Florida Street, y'all. They're everywhere. Me and Derek Smith uncovered the encampment by I-20 in the city limits. Crazy, full of bums and all kinds of stuff, y'all. And the Bible's very clear. If you don't work, you don't eat. That's what Paul said in the New Testament. In the book of Proverbs, in the Old Testament, it's very clear and it's very harsh about people that don't want to work, people that are lazy and slothful. The Bible is very harsh about people like that. You can sit there with all these churches and nonprofits and go feed them. I'm going to give them a harsh rebuke and say, hey, go get a freaking job. If I got to work like a man and provide for my wife and my kids, you don't get no extra sympathy because you chose to live a life of crime and doing and drinking all damn day and you don't want to work. Oh, hell no, Willie. If I gotta work, you gotta work. Every able-bodied man is commanded by the Bible to work and provide for his family. And the
Yep.
Bible even says those that don't provide for their own household is worse than the infidel. You're worse than an unbeliever if you don't provide for your wife and your kids and your family. And I don't feel bad for people, grown men, that don't want to work and stand on the corner in Midland, Texas, stink up my neighborhood, make my neighborhood dangerous, and they sit there and panhandle. They're professional panhandlers, and they don't get a free pass from Nino America. I don't give a flip what anybody got to say about that. Read the Bible, Christian.
Boom.
Read the Bible, Christian. Don't sit here and get mad at me. Say I'm heartless. Hell no, I ain't. I know what the Bible says. I don't feel no sympathy for a grown man that neglects his family for he can go hit the bottle and go hide under a bridge and go get fed at breaking bread and take a piss right there with my daughters at Martinez Bakery on the side of the building. Hell no, arrest them. Anyways, continues this. I got a good post here. The good thing I like about our platforms is people know. If you look at a lot of comments, you look at the City of Midland's post. I mean, my wife, we all laugh when we see them post. The mayor, they tear her up in the comments, y'all. A lot of people are aware, and we are, I don't want to say woke, but we are aware of what's happening with the city. They are corrupt, wasting our money, kicking us out of the meetings. And it's funny because people make these funny little posts about the drainage when we already know, the City of Midland only cares about the Omni, the investors, and they don't give a flip about no real drainage issues.
Nope.
They're going to give the money to Midland High. Go ahead, sis.
No, you're just absolutely right. And the corruption, I made a post the other day, snow does not roll uphill. It starts with the top of the leadership and goes on down. Whenever we get a chance to get into it, we're going to talk about affairs within the Midland Police Department. We're going to talk about things that were done to people.
Open record request.
Yep. Awards that were taken away from people. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and it's really going to shock everybody because what you think you're looking at,
just wait.
It's fake. Yep, it's fake.
Just wait, y'all. I'm telling you right now, it's funny. It's funny. It's fun. I don't want to say too much, but it's funny. All I gotta say is my inbox is full. We got a full inbox, y'all, and it's very interesting. And then whenever you figure it all out, and then FOIAs come back, baby. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, we got some very bad. It's looking bad for some guys down there. I'm gonna tell you right now. Wait till Nino America. Just wait. It's coming. That's all I gotta say. And like I said, I am not anti-police. I am anti-bad police. That's what it is. Go ahead.
I really think it's sad though that police departments and I worked on the detention side of law enforcement for a while, so it was different. But that it was almost like whenever I worked with them, it was like a brotherhood and all this. And whenever you start hearing all the stuff that is truly going on within that agency, and then you see them like removing you off from meetings,
it's coming.
And all of that.
It's coming.
Yeah, and it just is so much. Like whenever people see this, please show up at your next voters chance. Everybody's like, what can we do? What can we
vote
do?
them out?
We had a chance to vote Lori and all of them out. Thank goodness Terry Johnson wasn't brought back in, but we have to get them out. You have got to start with new leadership.
Yep. And real quick, someone says, just say, I'm going to tell you, we're already saying too much. Trust me, they're watching us, and we'll leave it at that. All I'm going to say is this. This is some high-level stuff, and people are telling me, I see in comments, and it kind of does, I don't want to say send shivers up my spine or shiver me timbers, but people say, you know what, Nino, be careful, because once you start exposing this stuff, you're a target. But you know what I figured out? It's no point of no return. The best way for me to figure this out is to highlight it and expose it to the world, because my people and my YouTube channel, my content, it backs me up, sis. It basically leaves an imprint and it leaves clues. Christi knows a lot already. So all I'm going to tell you, y'all, is the more I expose, the more safer it is for me, because I don't think they're going to try to come after somebody like me. Who knows? God forbid, right? But the more I expose, the more safe it is for me, because I'm going to be honest. As a Christian, a Trump supporter, a conservative, I don't fear no one but God. Amen. And I'm not going to let these tyrants in my city, the police chief or any of the Chatwell, all these freaking losers, I'm not going to let them intimidate me, because what am I doing? I'm not committing crime. I'm at the council meetings with my people, with tax-paying citizens, raising legitimate questions. You listen what we're talking here, y'all. We do our research. I'm doing a whole show on my YouTube channel and Facebook page, spitting nothing but facts, of course, with opinion mixed in. But the point is, we research this stuff. My people, they're in the comments. We know what's going on. So I'm not out here committing crime. I preach against committing crime. I'm a born-again Christian. The point is, I'm doing for the tax-paying citizen. Chief Snow wants to talk crap about me. Chatwell wants to harass us and try to intimidate us and bully us and illegally detain us and try to arrest us at the council meetings. For what? Because we're there speaking up for the tax-paying citizen. What am I doing that's illegal? What exactly is Nino America? Can anybody prove anything that I'm doing illegally with my business or with my anything? No, you can't. They done tried. It don't work, y'all. I done been through the ringer. I'm a Trump supporter with brown skin and purple lips and a unibrow. Think about it, y'all. They went after me a long time ago, right, Christi? And it never worked. Because God, I believe,
Never.
God has his hands upon my life and my marriage. And even Christi, all of us, the real believers, I believe that God is protecting. I would even say even the non-believers get the grace and mercy from God. That's biblical. The rain, the sun shines on the just and the unjust. Amen. But I believe that God has helped me in my life and has protection over my life, and I don't fear no man. And it ain't to be tough. It's to tell the freaking truth. And like I said, what am I doing this so wrong? I'm going out there with my camera. I'm an independent journalist. I'm going out here with my buddy Derek Smith, highlighting problems in the city and the county, and they don't like it. The police don't like what I'm doing because they work for the mayor. The mayor and the police, they're in cahoots. They're connected at the hip, which is okay, I guess, to a certain degree, because you want your city to be connected to the police department. But what you don't want is tyrannical police that sit here and think they can do whatever they want to tax-paying citizens. Who do they really work for? Who does the mayor really work for? She works for me. Who does the police work for? They work for us. We pay their salaries with our taxes. And I ain't trying to be like that, but that's the honest truth. So what is Nino America really doing, y'all? Exposing the corruption, exposing people to the truth, and calling out the lies. And that's all there is to it. Go ahead, sis.
I've seen a couple of comments on different posts of yours and things like that, that people were like, you know, that they really never cared for you because you seem to be always angry and belligerent, that have come back and said, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I wish that I would have listened to you and everything that's going on, because I see it clearly now with my eyes open.
I'm
And
telling
that,
you.
you know, yeah, I mean, it's right in your face. And Nino was the one pushing it out, you know, no fear. Him and I, neither one have ever had fear, you know, of anything. I'm the imbecile from Florida, in case anybody wants to know. But yeah, we just, you know, we're not going to stop. And the things that are getting ready to be exposed are going to bring you to your knees, is all I can tell you.
Come and take it, baby. Oh, we're going to come and we're going to take it. Trust me. All right, quick facts real quick before we go to this video. This is the video. This thing went viral. 250,000 views. 250,000 views on Instagram, 30K on TikTok, and like 10, 20,000 everywhere else. Quick facts. Midland Police Department reported, this is Derek Smith. Derek Smith, there's Chief Snow, that POS. Anyways, Midland Police Department reported 186 sworn officers and 14 recruits in 2026. MPD says it has 13 vacancies, down from 52 vacancies in 2019. Midland City population was estimated at 143,000 in 2024 by the Census Bureau, using 186. This is what Derek Smith always brings up, y'all. Check it out. I wasn't wrong. Using 186 sworn officers, Midland has roughly 1.29 sworn officers per 1,000 residents, okay? Follow along. It kind of doesn't make sense till it clicks, right? FBI 2019 city average was about 2.3 officers per 1,000 residents, and cities in the South average 2.5 per 1,000. We're right now at 1.29 per 1,000. So if Midland used a 2 per 1,000 number, which is, you know, more in their favor, we need about 208. No, that's in a worse figure. But if Midland used a 2.0 per 1,000 number, which the average in 2019 was 2.3, and in the South it was 2.5. If we just use 2.0, which right now we're at 1.2, if we use 2.0 per 1,000, we need about 287 officers, around 100 short. If Midland used a 2.3 per 1,000, we need about 330 officers, around 145 short. So that's the point, y'all. Conservative numbers show you that we are short minimum 100 officers. I would say maximum 350 officers per our population. Okay, don't believe what I say. You go do your own math. But Derek Smith, the guy here getting harassed by this scumbag over here, Derek Smith, is always talking about this, and it's true. If anything, listen to me clearly. Midland is short 100 officers, if not at least 350 officers for the population we have. And this is actually based off of numbers from other cities. Now, they're not a national standard, okay? Let's get it clear. But for other cities, we are very short. And it shows with the danger, the crime, and then here's these pieces of work over here at the council meeting, putting their hands on Derek Smith, right? They got about 10 police. It's probably about 10% of the police force here at the council meeting. I'll let him talk over here, y'all. Check it out. This is what he did.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
To that specific section, just throw it down and they will find it.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
We will not shout out in council meetings.
Is a point of order that's not shouting out.
So let me break this down real quick. What happened at the meeting, y'all, is basically we were there, and here is the city trying to give our money from the Midland Development Corporation to a veterinary hospital, okay? And this is the problem we have with the Midland Development Corporation. It's a type A entity. It cannot fund stuff like a veterinary hospital. It cannot fund the Omni Hotel. That's entertainment. That's not infrastructure. But these people, with the assistance of Tommy Gonzalez, that scum from El Paso, what they do is they finagle away in the wording, in the contracts, in the bonds and deals, whatever, to illegally fund what they want. The Omni Hotel is illegally funded. It can't be funded by type A corporation like the MDC. If they wanted to, they had to get a vote from the people. You think me and you are going to vote for the high eloquence luxury hotel Omni to come to Midland? I'm not going to go to the Omni. But the point is, they're using our taxpayer money for that. We've done videos about that. And right here, we had a citizen go speak up against the MDC using our money to help fund a veterinary hospital. That's not legally funded by the our EDC, is what we believe the law states clearly. So what happens is a citizen speaks against it. Of course, the city attorney, Nick Toilet, that piece of work, he goes on there and tries to fact check the citizen, saying, well, if you just Google it, you can find out that we can't fund this veterinary hospital. What the hell? Anyways, point is, Derek Smith Googled it, and I'm telling you, his Googling didn't match the other guy's Googling, and Derek Smith had a point of order. Okay? Now, this is the point where it gets kind of tricky. Robert's Rule of Law, Texas Open Meetings Act, the TOMA, people, I've seen it different ways. The citizens can or can't interject and say point of order. My point here is this, though. I've seen the mayor many times let people speak out from the audience, but because Derek Smith is sitting next to me, because Derek Smith is not one of them, he's one of us, what happens to him? I'm going to let you see what happens to him. Check it out. Oh, well, messed up my damn screen. Here we go.
No, ma'am, it's not. It's to clarify his point. He just said to go to Google. Okay.
There's Chatwell. That scum.
Are you removing me under threat of arrest? Come on. Is it threat of arrest?
Sir, you're disrupting.
It was a point of order. It's not. Okay, so it is under threat of arrest.
You're going to be arrested if you don't.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. It's threat of arrest.
Derek's a
That was
veteran.
a point of order is not a violation or an interruption. Whenever one is under.
Right there, Chatwell didn't like me filming, but Nino America, I'm gonna get the footage, baby. Best believe I'm gonna get the footage. They ain't gonna intimidate me, and I follow them out, y'all. Look at Chatwell. Look how many police are here. That's already 3 right there. I think 1 against the wall, and if you look on the other side, there's like 2 or 3, and there's 1 hiding in the back, y'all. That's where that scum Chief Snow was hiding in the end.
Robert's Rules of Order is what it's under. So.
1 right there, a woman. They're everywhere. Another one coming. Look at all the police, y'all. We're short on police, and look where they're at, y'all. They're there with the citizens. Derek Smith is an honorable man. He's a Christian. He's a lifelong Midlander, tax-paying citizen, very well-spoken, very well-mannered veteran from the Navy. And look at them putting their disgusting hands all over this man right here. And we are the taxpayers. This is where you should have a point of order. This is where the mayor should let us speak and talk about this, but she don't do that because she's a freaking tyrant, just like the police here. And I ain't afraid to say it. Look at his hands all over Derek.
Yeah, this way. I was going to talk to him. He just called me over.
There's this unqualified piece of work. Yeah, we already know. What's the deal with him, Christi? What's the deal with Chief Snow? Is he qualified?
No, he's not.
Why is he not qualified?
Because he didn't have the qualifications that was the standard. And so Herman had to go in and take out that you had to have a bachelor's degree and so many training hours, stuff like that. There were many people on the force that had more training hours than him, that had more experience than him, and yeah, he's just not qualified.
And from what you see, we haven't released yet. Does he have anything on his record, disciplinary acts that you know of?
I am working on all that right now.
Let's continue though. That's Chief Snow, y'all. Look how he acts. Look at his attitude.
No, I didn't call you no. I need you
Well, I would like to speak to the chief.
Well, the chief is busy right now.
Grabs his crotch and said the chief is busy. How disgusting. Chatwell, Christy, don't say too much about him, but what do we know about old Chatwell?
A lot. A whole lot. I mean, yeah, a whole lot. That
Christy, hold on. I'm looking real quick. He don't got a wedding ring. That's kind of interesting. Is he married?
He was for 25 years.
And so he's divorced?
I would say so. And I would say that it had
no,
to
Christy.
do with
No more.
with
No,
things not
Christy.
just being-
No more.
Okay.
It's coming, Chatwell. Just wait.
Yeah.
Chatwell. Last time he's the one that tried to bully me out when they kicked me out of the meeting. But it's kind of funny because when they kicked Derek out of the meeting, they let him sit there when he started citing the law, the Roberts Book of Law and the TOMA. But when they kicked me out, they had to escort me to the parking lot. So that right there kind of shows me there's some discrimination there. Why did they kick out Nino America and send me packing and make me leave the premises? But Derek Smith, he was allowed to sit here for a little while. Makes you kind of go, huh? But like I said, Chatwell, he's a nice piece of work. And next week we got some good info coming about this nice man that was very aggressive towards Derek, and he was aggressive towards me. This scum. He's scum in my opinion. Go ahead, sis.
Derek just texted me and said that he is available if you want to call him.
All right, we'll call him in a minute. We're gonna finish this clip. Okay. So here's Derek, and here's this officer. Look, I don't respect this. Okay, again, I'm not anti-police. I'm anti this. He keeps putting his hands on Derek, y'all.
City property. I left the meeting. Take your hands off. You're assaulting me is what you're doing now.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you're assaulting me is what you're doing by touching me. Let's go.
Is that what you want to have happen here? You want to be sued?
Well, you're already going to be sued. It's a point of order.
Let's go.
I asked you, look, I've known you. I'm just talking to you. I'm talking to
And I'm
you.
telling you how
Okay.
it's going to be.
There's old Snow not doing a damn thing. So he's so busy. We just had some shootings a couple days ago, and they have all these police here harassing us.
You told me whenever I talked to you that you would arrest them if they violated the law. They have violated the law under Robert's Rules of Orders because that was a point of order. I can show you.
Okay, hold on. Here's Doreen, and he says Robert's Rules, the audience is a member. I just told you, Doreen, from what I've seen different things saying different things. But what I have seen, and we have it documented, and we got the footage, we do. I've seen Lori Blanc allow Scott Dufford in the audience speak up and go talk on the microphone. Mr. Doreen, can you refute that? I've seen Lori, the mayor of Midland, allow people from the audience to go stand up on the microphone. I've seen her let other people talk, say things from the crowd, clap and everything, and they don't get treated like this. That's the difference, Mr. Doreen. That Mayor Lori Blanc likes to enforce the law and the rules on who she sees fit, and the people like me, whenever we say anything, they kick us out under threat of arrest. There's a big difference, Mr. Doreen. So again, like I said, the Robert's Rule of Law and the Texas Open Meetings Act, I've seen it interpreted different ways. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I've seen it where it says that citizens can bring a point of order, and some say it can't because it's not a person on the board. I'll give you that. I'm going to be honest. But like I said, I've also seen the mayor give who she wants that microphone. And people like Derek, they say one thing wrong, and there they are getting escorted out and getting assaulted by the police. If I put my hands on that officer, Christy, what would happen to me? I'd go to jail, wouldn't I?
Oh my gosh. I mean, they look for any reason anyway that you haven't walked out quick enough, that your hair isn't the right way. They look for any reason like to try to put their hands on you and going back to even where you were assaulted and they refused to take the report. It's all going to come out. And I think that it's really, really sad that y'all are given 3 minutes to speak and they argue with at least a minute and a half of you. of your time. I think it's just sad. This is the worst leadership I have ever seen in my life. And I come from a family that had deep town and county, leaders.
Well, just wait. Like I said, just wait. Chatwell, even Snow, and I got about 5 other names. Just wait when that's all I'm gonna say. Just wait. Just wait. But the point is, there's Chatwell.
Because he has a job during.
Okay, so the point is, there they are harassing Derek. We're gonna put him on the phone in a minute. I actually want to have him on the pod, but he's helping out somebody else. But there it is, y'all. This is how they treat us. And these guys, they're not no cookie cutters. This guy right here, if you look at him, I asked him if he wants a hug. Chatwell, his skin was like boiling. I don't know if this guy's possessed by a demon or if he's a Christian. I know he's divorced. He's a loser, divorced loser over here. But this man's blood was boiling, sis. I even asked him, "Do you want a hug?" And then I saw this man, his eyes, and people on the TikTok said, "Is he under the influence?" They said, "Look at his eyes, how he looks. This man looks possessed." The way he treated me at the last meeting and the way he treated Derek Smith, I said something's wrong with this man. Look at his actions, y'all. That's just my assessment of him, my opinion. This man right here, he bucks up. He tries to walk like he's all hard and tough. And then, like I said, many people have said this all over social media, 230,000 views already. They said that this guy right here, police are trained to de-escalate situations. This man did not, Derek was calm. This man was actually escalating the situation. Look how he talks to me in a minute. I'm going to play it right now.
I'm not arguing with this.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm talking to you.
And I'm not going to talk to you about this. That's not the place for that, and that's not how this is going to be conducted.
That's the rules. Those are the...
That's not the place for it. At a council meeting with the taxpayers, that's not the place to discuss those things, huh? Let's continue.
laws. The laws regard your conduct as
Texas
an officer.
Open Meetings Act, sir. That's called the TOMA.
I understand.
You don't understand
it's
it.
not going to happen in there.
That's
and
a
I'm not
Texas-
going to argue out here.
It's a Texas
We're not
Open
arguing.
We're speaking. This
speaking.
man is free speech, man. You need to learn about the Constitution. Look at this man. He's like a demon. Officer.
Yeah, I know.
You look like you going crazy. Are you okay? You need a hug, sir? Man, this guy's something else. It's a Texas Open Meeting Act, but you know what? Yeah, for real. I said, do you need a hug? Look at this guy, y'all. Look at this man. You tell me this man is well. He's balding. Hold on, Christi. He's balding. He's red. I mean, what's wrong with this man? Look at his eyes. They're dilated. He's balding. He's not too much in shape. He's divorced. What's wrong with this man right here, y'all? He's very aggressive towards taxpayers. What's wrong with this guy?
Napoleon syndrome.
I don't know what's wrong with this guy, y'all. I don't support this officer. Y'all can support him. I don't support this dude. This guy's a scumbag, in my opinion. I don't care who don't like it. That's my opinion. Officer.
Yeah, I know.
You look like you going crazy. Are you okay? You need a hug, sir? Man, this guy's something else. It's a Texas Open Meeting Act, but you know what? I should have started praying deliverance over this man. I should have tried to cast out the demon. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I think that guy's demonically possessed as a Christian. I'm not gonna lie. That's what I think.
Yeah,
y'all violated it. There's nothing he did was illegal.
Him, man.
Well, I'm speaking to him. He's my buddy.
Okay. Well,
What I plan on speaking...
Why does he
Come
got
over
to
here
leave
and let
for?
me show you what I plan...
No. I'll
You're
go
not
out
going to be
here
able to see in the sun. I'm just going to the shade.
I know the rules and the laws.
You know the rules of the Texas Open Meetings Act?
Yes, man. I have it all printed out.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Look, right here, he was
Yeah,
lying.
but we
Just
already
look.
have. But we have the rules.
I know,
here
but
too.
he's lying. And I have the
Christi, give Derek on the phone. But look at this man, y'all. You just putting his hands all over Derek, man. What kind of weirdo is this?
right as a citizen to call point of order
Okay.
and to correct somebody who is giving
But
this
guess what?
information.
Guess what? They bypassed that when they made y'all do the sheets. So you got to have a sheet to talk.
Hold on. This guy said, that's why I told Derek, let him talk. He said they bypassed the Texas Open Meetings Act, y'all, with a piece of paper. What the hell? They said that they bypassed the Open Meetings Act by a piece of paper. This officer is stupid. This officer is ignorant. I can't believe this man said that. I said, Derek, let him talk. Derek, let him talk.
They
bypassed the Texas Open
They
Meetings
can't,
Act?
they can't bypass it.
Listen.
What the?
And see,
Listen to me.
Let him talk.
okay.
They made those sheets so you can talk, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's how you talk.
That's on that item. But if
Right.
you have
So if
a
you
right,
have- if you have-
let me
listen to
tell
me,
you,
listen,
you
listen,
say,
listen, listen.
no, you listen. I'm going to tell you because I'm trying to
I have
save
a job
you
to do,
lot.
and
Yeah,
I
you
got to
have a
go
job.
do my job now.
Okay.
Okay.
What is your name and badge number?
It's Claire P125.
P125.
Freaking scumbag.
Derek's on the phone.
Derek, what's up, Derek?
Hey, how's it going, Nino?
Okay, Derek, we just played the clip, man. Give us a breakdown. We want to get you in the studio. Went viral. We got about 250,000. I say about maybe 280, almost 300,000 views, all platforms. Derek, what was your purpose of going to this meeting today whenever you got kicked out of the council meeting?
Well, my purpose that day was I just wanted to speak during public comment, and I wanted to speak on the fact of how short we actually are on police officers based on what the national averages are.
Hey, Derek, let me
And
interject. Derek, let me interject. I just did the numbers, and you're right. On a conservative level, we're about 100 short. On the real level, we're about 330 short. But you are right, because I did it at the 1.2. But if it did it at the 2.0, it's actually like 100, 150 on a conservative level. But you are correct. We are short about 100 to 300. Correct?
yeah, it's a lot because our population, the official population, stands at 144,000. The unofficial population, with all of our man camps, the people that are living in RV parks, in Winnebagos and travel trailers, people living in extended stay hotels around here just to work in the oil field. Our unofficial population is estimated at around 250,000, and we only have 180 to 186 officers. National average is 2.2 to 2.5. So back to what you were saying on the conservative side, if we round down to 2, and then we take our population and just say, okay, we're going to just round up a slight bit off the official of 144 up to 150, and then we're taking out the estimated population that's way over that, and we just go with 150 and multiply it by 2, that's 300, and we have 180 to 186. National standards is 2.2 to 2.5 per 1,000 residents, and that's sworn officers. And then it gets higher with the auxiliary or the ancillary personnel at the department that do other things.
So,
but sworn officers that should be on the street, minimum, and those are conservative figures, it's not to be an alarmist, is 300. Very conservative estimates. Very.
And Derek, I know you didn't get to hear me earlier whenever I was whenever I was talking about how many officers we have on the streets at nighttime, during the day, and things like that. When you hear those numbers, whenever you go back and listen to this, it's mind-boggling.
I mean, Derek, we're hearing. Derek, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're hearing that, I mean, sometimes up to 5 to 6 at night. That's what we kind of heard. I don't know how true that could be, but Derek, I mean, you've grown up all your life here. We used to know that we knew that Midland was a strict city, and now I don't ever see police driving anywhere. They're like non-existent, and the city keeps saying that we're safe and crime's going down. But how can crime go down if we're short 100 plus officers? Go ahead.
Because they're all in the meetings.
Well, see, crime goes down if you can't be out there. Crime went down drastically during the blue flu up in New York when Mayor de Blasio made the police department angry, and he did something to, I think, a fallen officer. And anyhow, there was a funeral or some event that Mayor de Blasio was speaking at up in New York. The entire department turned away and made sure that their backs were facing him. And then they all called in sick. And the crazy thing was, when that blue flu hit, crime just drastically disappeared. Now, why would that be? Did it stop, or is there nobody there to enforce it? I mean, you got to stop, and all of this stuff with government, just try to think up analogies that you can relate it to any other business. And with the police department, I like to use the analogy of a restaurant having 100 tables, and you have 10 waiters or waitresses who each can give you the most excellent service of your life, and they can handle 5 tables each. So you've got 10, they can handle half the restaurant. Well, all of a sudden, management is not hiring more wait staff, but they're filling those other tables that these people can only handle half of efficiently and properly. And so things start falling through the cracks. The other guests at those other 50 tables, these waiters that can do 5, now they're trying to pick up another 5. So imagine any officer trying to, he's not going to be able to be doing proactive policing of patrolling and answering calls and all the other stuff that goes along with the job if he doesn't have the proper backup. Just like with the wait staff, if you don't have enough bus boys and waiters and everything else, now you've got the waiter trying to serve, take the order, bus the tables, do all this, plus take all these other guests that you don't have the staff for. That causes burnout. It causes frustration, causes them to be on edge. It makes things more dangerous for the public because you may be trying to fill spots by having somebody work overtime and work way more hours
Yep.
than what they should. I mean, you're a truck driver, Nino.
Oh, I know.
You
I
know
know.
that you can only work so many, and it's because
higher-
of safety. So imagine having a gun and the ability to make life and death decisions, and yet you're tired. And so a cell phone all of a sudden looks like something in somebody's hand, and now because you were tired because they didn't staff it, here's some innocent person who's dead.
Well,
And
Derek,
now this officer has to live with the guilt of that because management didn't do their job.
and Derek, and I would even add, with the way they treated you and the way they treat me, and they keep doing this, what's going to happen when they end up getting sued? I mean, let's go back to the meeting here. So we agree from the numbers. Derek has his numbers. I got mine. They're pretty similar. We are short. Midland, Texas is a dangerous ass city. We had a bunch of shootings, and in the next couple of days, here's Lori Blom with 10 plus police officers harassing us. Okay, but the point is, Derek, you're at the meeting. I explained to it earlier that you want to bring up a point of order. There's different, even Doreen's in here saying that you couldn't speak because you're not a member. I've seen the Texas Open Meetings Act say kind of both ways, but I'm kind of leaning more that it's more of a council member's position to bring up a point of order. You brought one up, but what I want to say is I've seen Mayor Lori Blong let Scott Dufford speak. I've let her see other people speak with no problem. You try to correct the attorney, right? And then you were automatically ejected. Talk about that real quick, Derek.
Yeah, all I was trying to do was the city attorney stated in the meeting, and this was part of the official public record. He did so in his official capacity as the city attorney, and he gave fraudulent legal advice, is what he did, because he stated we had people that were up there talking about a veterinarian hospital. They are going to give $100,000 or $160,000 to this veterinary hospital. City attorney says it is perfectly legal for this to occur. Anybody can get on Google and they can see this for themselves. So while I'm sitting there, I just typed into Google, is it legal in Texas for a veterinarian hospital to receive type A economic development tax funds? Google spits back something that says, no, it's not legal. It doesn't meet this requirement and all this other stuff. And so that was the reason for calling the point of order. And how else is someone supposed to address anything? Because that's proper decorum, is point of order. And that's how you keep it. It's just like a company meeting. Like, say, if you think about analogies that you can relate to with your life, we've all sat in company meetings, we've sat in safety meetings, and if there's something that we have a question for, we raise our hand. And then if the person conducting the meeting doesn't recognize this and we're trying to clarify something for our own understanding, then we say, excuse me, I've got a question. And so it's the same way. I raised my hand and was hoping that we'll get with you in just, because that's how it used to be, is if you had an inquiry, you raised your hand.
Oh.
And they would say, okay, we'll recognize you in a minute. Or they would point at you, kind of like if you've ever watched an auction and the person puts up and they point at them, then the other person raises the bid and they point at them. They recognize people. And so that's what I tried to do. And when she didn't recognize me was whenever I said, Madam Speaker, point of order. And what she should have done is, okay, as soon as he's done making his point, we'll give you a chance to rebut what he's saying. And they typically give you 30 to 45 seconds and that's all I would have said if she would have said, okay, what did you want to say, sir? I would have said, the attorney, here's my phone. I had it you were sitting there recording. I believe I even showed it to you
Yeah.
on your video, what it said. And that's all I wanted to say. And she got mad.
Derek, so you're saying, and I've seen it before, so you're saying that in the past, you've seen the mayor allow people to speak and to bring up a question in the audience, correct?
Previous mayors, I don't know about this one for sure.
Okay.
Because but in the past, because I've participated in these meetings for 30 to 35 years. I mean, going back to whenever I was a teenager, I've gone down there and spoke and said things, and we didn't have police down there. We didn't. That's what a lot of the longtime Midlanders around here are really confused about. They're like, it's never been like this in this town. We lived here for 50, 60 years. It's never been like this.
And Derek, let me ask you a question. I'm sorry to cut you off, Derek, but they say that there's threats on their lives, but let's be honest. The only threats I've seen is from Lori Blanc saying that I need to be stopped. Scott Dufford, the ex-council member, threatening me to pay them to kick my ass. That was documented. We've only seen threats really from their side towards us, and it seems like they weaponize the police force to treat us like criminals when we are the ones that are actually you're actually friendly with these men, right? With Chatwell and all these guys, correct?
Known them for close to, if not more than 30 years as well. I've had several cordial conversations with them, and I mean, have supported them. I mean, it's just one of those things that, like, say, I wish I had it recorded, because I had talked to Officer Chatwell the day that they had instituted the new rules, and several people were late because of the ice storm that we had. And nope, you weren't here to have the sheet filled out by 10 o'clock when the meeting started. You can't speak. You can't. Used to, we could fill one out, and if you were somebody who it's your first meeting ever, and you're sitting there, you're just wanting to observe, and all of a sudden a question comes to mind. We used to could take those sheets and take it over to the city secretary, and they would let us speak. And that's how a meeting's actually supposed to go. That's what transparency is about, is to allow the people to ask questions, and then you're supposed to answer them, because they're elected representatives. That's what people don't get. They represent us, and as a representative, you need to stop and ask yourself, if you had hired this person as an attorney or as somebody to come into your house and clean, iron, cook, do whatever, or you hired them at your business, is this how you would want them to treat you as your representative? Do you want an attorney or the person that you hired to mow your lawn telling you, no, we're going to do things this way? No, I hired you to do a job this way. And if you go out there and talk to your employee and you say, hey, I'm trying to understand what you're doing here, what's going on, and they snap at you, get out of my face. Well, they're not going to have a job much longer. And that's how it should be with this. There should be a recall. The people who like her should have, if they are actual Christians and they're Americans that believe in everything, you've got to be neutral, and you've got to put aside your personal likes for the human being and look at their actions and weigh it in a black and white fashion and say, is what they did right or is it wrong? This isn't right and left, Republican and Democrat. This is right or wrong.
Derek, let me ask you.
That's what it is, right or wrong.
Derek, let me ask you, whenever they threw you out, did you expect that to happen? Did you ever think that you'd be kicked out and threatened with arrest by Chatwell? I think Chatwell is a piece of work, to be honest. There's actually a lot of proof of that. I'll leave it at that. But did you think, or what did you think in your mind when they were kicking you out, Derek?
I thought, I can't believe that this is happening, because it's never been this way. We've always been able to do that. I would have expected, and it's not hatred for the police. The thing is, the police have a job to do, and that job is to enforce the law. And it's just like, I will bring up analogies again. Somebody who works at Walmart in loss prevention, they catch the store manager, the head guy who gave them the job, interviewed them, hired them. They catch him stealing, sending product out the back door.
What do?
They turn him into corporate.
Yeah.
Or they call the cops.
Arrest them.
since they're lost, and they arrest that store manager. And that's the same. That is what our law enforcement is supposed to do. That's why they are part of the executive branch. And sure, if somehow that manager gets to go back to the store after he's arrested, he might tell that guy he's fired. But that guy has all kinds of legal recourses against his employer, and these officers do too. If the mayor or the city manager suddenly fires them without cause, man, they've got whistleblower protections, wrongful termination, because it's a job. And they shouldn't be looking at it as being personal and then turning against us, because they work for us. It's our tax dollars that pay their salary, and they swear an oath. They put their hand on a Bible and they raise another hand and they swear an oath to protect mine and your rights, our constitutional rights. But then they turn right back around and turn a blind eye after telling the guy, if you show me where they've broken the law, I will arrest them. I will make sure something happens. That's what he told me that day of the ice storm, because I said, this is BS. I mean, people are running late. People have kids. And here it is. You're just changing the rules without at least 72 hours notice.
Wow.
And y'all are supposed to be the ones who, I mean, that's why the DA and the sheriff are elected positions themselves, is because those guys should be able to forward a report like, hey, a citizen showed me this. This is what's going on. And just like the store manager, you call the police and they come and arrest him, and then you have to deal with corporate and all this other stuff. Well, they call the DA or the sheriff, because I understand them not wanting to arrest somebody who's seen as being in their direct chain of command. But in the military, an MP will have to arrest the base general if he drives on the base drunk and he crashes into one of the barracks or a piece of high dollar military equipment that makes it where it can't be used for the purpose that it was designed for. And that's the highest ranking guy on the base. And it can be some 18-year-old kid who went in, he's out of boot camp and he's gone through his A school to be a MP. And the base general does this. He's got no choice. And it's the same way with our officers. You've got no choice. It doesn't matter that they're the mayor or the governor of the state or anything else. The law applies to them equally. Why did our founders and everybody before us codify all of this stuff to where in Title 18, specific statute 242 of the United States Code, deprivation of civil rights under color of law? Why would we have something codified that says you have deprived a citizen of their civil rights?
Derek,
A law. It's not a civil matter. This is a legal matter and a criminal matter.
Derek, let me
It's
ask
not
you.
civil.
Let me ask you, Derek. This is very strange, odd, because even someone saying the meetings have changed so much under Blanc. Have you ever? What are your thoughts on the mayor? Honestly, this is my opinion. I'm going to pass it to you, Derek. I feel like Blanc, we've connected so many dots from her money given. She's gotten donations from Shahid Anwar, all kinds of weird dealings. She raised over $350,000 for one of her campaigns. Just a lot of weird things. I'm not saying it's illegal, but a lot of weird happenings in my opinion. But the point is, I feel like Blanc has weaponized the police to do her bidding. I feel like there's corruption in the city. I feel like they even control the media. I mean, I don't want to say much more on here, but I just feel like the city and the mayor, she has a grasp on everything. This is like 1984, from the police force, the media, to other council members. That's just my opinion. What are your thoughts, Derek? Do you feel the same sentiment? What do you think overall about the way we're being treated and the power that Mayor Lori Blanc wields out there? What are your overall thoughts about this, Derek? Is it alarming to you?
It's absolutely alarming, because that's what none of these politicians understand. A political contribution is just that. It's a contribution. You don't owe, they're not buying you. You're not supposed to be able to be sold. And so when you put your name on there and you say you want to represent the people, you're supposed to be representing me and you, people that you may not like. And you got to stop. Why is it personal? Why do you think we don't like you just because we're asking you questions? If your boss at work came up to you and said, "Man, you know what's going on? Your performance is lacking, man. Normally you haul 5 loads a day every day, man, and here for the past 2 weeks, you've only been hauling 3. I mean, is there a problem with your truck? I mean, we give you this dispatch because we rely on you, and that's what we the citizens have done. We put you there, we hired you, and a lot of the people who are speaking out against her were actually for. I voted for her in her first term. Several of the people from our group that they say is the same people over and over, they all supported her on her first run. So how is this personal? I mean, it's not personal. They make it personal and play the victim when we're using facts to say you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you're violating the law here, and they just don't care. And that's not what America. The reason our founding fathers fought the Revolutionary War was because of unfair treatment like what we're experiencing right now from the king, except we're experiencing it from our mayor.
Wow. I've
I
never
mean,
seen.
I hope all that makes sense, but you are my representative. You don't have to like me. I'm your boss, plain and simple. You don't have to like me, but whenever I come in and I want to ask you a question, or somebody who I put you in charge of and they're your subordinate and you're supposed to be checking them out, I'm your supervisor and you should be acting just like. I know people out there listening have worked at the job and probably asked this question: why do we only clean up when corporate's coming in? Why don't we keep the place? Why don't we do this? We, the citizens, should not have to be going down there doing that. And just like the employees asking, well, why does the place look real nice and we do all this stuff when corporate comes along? When we show up down there, they ought to be jumping around just like that, that we don't want these people down here. We've got their attention. We don't want it.
Well,
And that's how they should clean house is what they should do. Because we
it's
shouldn't
funny.
have to be down there.
It's funny you say that, Derek, because I think they actually are doing that. When they see us come, they try to hide, right? They try to hide what they're doing. They try to intimidate us with the
It's
police.
like they're trying to sweep it under the rug, and we got to get this, and and I'm pretty sure that she knew full well, more or less, what I was going to say, just because we know for a fact that they have people monitoring us. Because we see the public information officer constantly commenting and trying to, denigrate us even further. And then we've even seen this dude threaten a member of the public online. Now, how is he not violating our city's social media policies by threatening somebody, saying anytime, anywhere? And the person wasn't being confrontational. They simply made a statement that this individual had never responded to him in the comments on Facebook, and the guy turns it into, I'll meet you anywhere, anytime. He's like, what does that tell you about the type of people we have hired at the city that do all this?
And it makes you
that
wonder,
they're watching Facebook.
Derek, it makes you wonder, though, same thing with the police. Because I just watched that documentary. I sent you know all about it with Cooper. And it's very interesting. That got 250,000 views on YouTube of all places, over an hour and a half. That actual documentary has a lot to do with Midland and Odessa. So
it has to do with corrupt policing, purposely setting someone up, sending them off to prison. And luckily, Mr. Cooper was able to prove their innocence and get them out. And that's what he does. Is he's an expert witness in drug cases because he knows how the police operate. And he's not a very well liked person because for them, he's the equivalent of the masked magician giving up all the secrets to how the tricks are done. That's how I would categorize Mr. Barry Cooper. Is he's law enforcement's equivalent to the masked magician. He can tell you their tricks and how they're going to try and hem you up and everything.
And what I saw about that was very interesting is that he called out Joe Commander. That Joe Commander in Odessa, Texas, was planting substances on people and arresting them, and then come to find out the way the grants work for the Permian Basin Drug Task Force and a lot of these agencies is they get a grant from the state, and you know how they get funding? He said it on there. They don't get funding by reducing crime. They don't get funding by making the area safer. They get funding by getting more arrests. And Cooper stated on there that he even worked in Odessa, of all places, and that was their job, to try to double and triple their arrests. If they got one person with something and they had two other people around him, they would charge all three with these crimes. They would basically ruin their lives. You know, we're not soft on crime, but they would charge people, and they would be happy and laugh when they would see them raiding people's homes, and they would have a weapon to their face. Cooper and them said they would laugh here in Odessa, of all places. So don't give me that crap that these police are squeaky clean. And I don't want to hear that crap that it's a war against us and the police. That's not true. We back the blue. But Derek, I'm just going to tell you, like I've told everybody else, I don't back corrupt police that ruin people's lives. People like Chatwell that harass people like you, a veteran, and people like Chief Snow that I think he's unqualified. The documents are there, in my opinion, or not there in his case. But the point is, these police have bended the knee to this mayor. She's weaponized them. We see it happen. They harass us, threaten us with arrest for going to a public meeting to interact with our elected officials. I feel that's very disrespectful to the tax-paying citizen, and I feel that I feel like we need the feds to swoop down here. We need some investigations in this city. Do you agree with that, Derek?
Oh, absolutely. We need FBI, Department of Justice, you name it. We need the Texas Rangers Public Integrity Unit out here looking into things, because for one, it makes no sense for anyone to be spending a total of 6 figures over 3 individuals for jobs that pay $25 for council per month, $25, $75 a month for mayor, and yet we have individuals pumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into these little local elections. Now, why would our founders that made this city, and why would, for all these years, all these former mayors, former councilmen, why would nobody ever change it to a much higher paid position? And the reason why is because it wasn't supposed to be seen as one that was of the kind of importance they're trying to make it into, to where they're using the police department like their own little secret service, and they're going around LARPing like they're the president and his cabinet. And then while we're on this subject, I don't get to talk to you as much as I would like to, but your favorite person, Tommy Gonzalez, raises a lot of questions with me regarding all of this staff that followed him from El Paso. It's kind of weird for a bunch of individuals to uproot their families, pack up their house, and move from one town to another. And I wonder how many towns these people have followed him to, because to me it looks like a traveling gypsy tribe that just goes from place to place and runs scams and cons in the towns. Because, and I would also like to know, the people that followed him here, the positions they're in now, were those positions vacant, or did we do something like what happened to a member of the MDC that just out of nowhere was kicked off there?
Can I ask both of y'all a question real quick? And
Yeah.
this is a question that they had in the chat. Do you think it will get to a point where they no longer allow citizens to attend the meetings? Can they do that legally?
No, they can't do it legally. There's all this Texas Open Meetings Act. They are required under state law to allow us to speak. It's in the law. They have to have a public comment section, and then they have to allow so much on the items from what I remember reading. So, that's what they would like to do, and that's what their media...
Ideas. Don't give them no ideas.
Yeah. It's what they want to do. And they were given an idea by their little propaganda meister that they go on and talk trash to and everything. Y'all need to do something about these people. And so they sat around and they came up with this deal to where they just make it harder. And the attorney general really should be if he's got time to be investigating H-1B visas and some of this other stuff, and he's launching an investigation into these fraudulent CDL schools around the state,
Yep.
and an investigation needs to be launched into Midland and Odessa, Texas. Excuse me.
Well,
Odessa, Texas.
I think
because
Odessa
everybody.
got caught in some fraud too. I forgot what it was popped up. I shared on Defend Midland, but I want to state this, Derek. I think sooner or later they're going to get sued because we already have the footage. Let's be honest. Shandy Williams got escorted out of the county and the city meetings. They done it to me. They done it to you. They interrupted
They did it to Judd.
To Judd. It's crazy. The mayor of Midland, Judd Campbell, went over his 3 minutes. It goes by quick, y'all, by 6 seconds. And she turned his mic off on the last one. But when he went over his minutes by 6 seconds, she had him escorted out and almost practically thrown out. Her own political opponent, the other mayor candidate of Midland, who I've backed, she almost arrested him for going over his 3 minute mark by 6 seconds. I'm gonna be honest. I think sooner or later, and we ain't no ambulance chasers, y'all, but I think sooner or later there's gonna be a big lawsuit with the city of Midland when they get busted for messing with the wrong one and harassing the tax-paying citizens or anyone that wants to speak up there. What's gonna happen when they get a big old lawsuit? How many millions of dollars are they going to lose whenever someone ends up suing them and even the police, because what they're doing is not right, and I believe they're actually breaking the law. Go ahead, Derek.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way to tax y'all.
Right.
Yeah, that is the bad thing is lawsuits. That's something else people don't realize. Lawsuits and even criminal. If, let's say, after you and I hang up today, the attorney general could hop on a Learjet and fly down here. He could be sitting there listening to you and I right now. It's going to take 3 to 5 years for anything to happen, whether it's a lawsuit or they face criminal charges or both. Before it comes to a conclusion, it's going to be a 3 to 5 year ordeal. And this stuff gets drug out so that hopefully by the time it comes to a conclusion, everybody's forgotten about it. And that's the problem too, is people think that everyone out here doing this is you're just doing it for likes. You're just doing it for money. Oh, you're just trying to bait the police so that you can sue them. No, we're doing this to show the people how absolutely far from our founding we have fallen.
Yep.
All across, because this isn't an isolated incident to Midland, Texas only. We have sat there and we know that this same thing's going on in Amarillo. I believe it's going on in Frisco, in Abilene, Lamarck, Texas. Anybody who follows Harvey Freebird knows what he's dealing with down there with Joseph Lowry. It's going on in Aransas Pass. If you know who Jason Followell is, you know about his dealings. If you know who C.J. Grisham is and followed him for any amount of time, he has gone all across the state for First Amendment and Second Amendment violations, because there are cities that they just refuse to follow state law when it comes to opening concealed carry, and they will post that you can't be carrying on city property, and yet you can go up to the state capitol and carry. And they want to say no, and so every time you turn around, this guy can get a suit against the city because these people just, they think that they get elected into a position and that they're kings and they can just start writing their own laws and doing whatever they want because they got elected. And they're not. You're not a king. You're not a dictator. You are an elected representative that is supposed to listen to the constituents, including those that you don't like. I don't care if it's some homeless bum that walks in there, right, or looks like one, because I've seen some people around here that they make lots of money, but man, when they're in their work clothes, you'd think that they're home, they're dirty, but they make good money doing some of this stuff out in the oil field. And so if they come in, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I wanted to say that, I forgot my train of thought. Go ahead, my bad.
Well, like, Well, you forgot your train of thought. Stuart has some questions, and I guess there's two parts to his question, and I pinned it. It says, "Why did MISD have success turning the board over, and why aren't you following that playbook?"
Okay, hold on. Before we go to there, shout out West Texas Audits. I wish we could get him to call in. I wish we had a call-in number, y'all. But there's West Texas Audits. We support West Texas Audits, y'all. We support any watchdog groups. And this is kind of the point of my life. This is what my platform kind of turned into, y'all, because of course I'm a Trumper, MAGA, and all that, but I focus my own attention on my city and backyard. So we're going to be uncovering more, especially when we get ready to expose more of the police department, the crooked cops. Shout out the good ones. We support y'all. But shout out West Texas Audits, y'all. Love that page. Back to Stuart's question. He says, why did MISD have success turning the board over, and why aren't you following that playbook? This is what I'm going to say. But before I give it to you, Derek, we are not an organized force as much as people may think. We're just a group of concerned taxpayers, and we actually did try to turn over the board. We had our mayor candidate. We had our district, 3 representative. If I'm wrong, correct me. But we did try to turn it over. But you know what was kind of weird? And Derek, I want you to talk about that, Derek, but it was kind of weird with the voting, because we were told that we were up and that we won that night. And for some reason, Judd did not win. I'll leave it at that. But we did have our people, and we were trying to turn over our city council, and we are going to continue trying so. But the point is, we're not really, I don't want to say too much here, but we're not really, so pinpoint focused, and we're not like a group. We're just here concerned, and we go to the council meetings, and they kick us out and try to arrest us. So the point is, why we're not following MISDs, because, to be honest, we got other things going on in life. But we did try to put our candidates in there, but we didn't win. Derek, what would you respond to that question of why don't we follow the MISD playbook and try to turn over the board? Go ahead.
Well, like you said, we tried, and if people knew what went on during these elections, they would have no faith in our system whatsoever. Because as a poll watcher that night, like you said, the election judge stated, wow, Judd is up by a huge margin after all of the early voting came in. And early voting was twice as much as day of. And then somehow during day of, the results flipped. And during this whole thing, you have these little bags that look like tiny little bank bags that have these flash drives in them. They have a little zip tie on it to where it's supposed to be sealed and secured and everything. Well, one of those little baggies had 2 flash drives in it, and it was only supposed to have 1. And both got inserted in. And that was my first time being a poll watcher. But from it, I learned a lot of stuff that everybody should really be trying to get involved and become a poll watcher for any party if you can. Ask the candidates to appoint you. Take the little state certification. And when you see anomalies like that, if I would have known there was an officer in that room, I could have stopped everything and said, I need a report done on this. This is wrong. There should not have been 2 flash. I didn't know I could do that. The training that the state gave you is not as in depth as everybody thinks. And that's why I encourage people to get involved, because if people got involved like we are, they would be seeing the things that we see, and they wouldn't be arguing with us or fighting against us. They would be sitting there saying, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry for anything I ever said derogatory to you. I should have had my eyes opened. I should have been more neutral and looked at both sides instead of just believing my government. Because look at what believing your government got a lot of people with this COVID thing. How many people now are seeing the truth of?
Oh, Derek, watch out, Derek. Yeah, watch out with the words over there. I don't even want to even mention a lot of that stuff. You know how they do you.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but it's all good. But the point is, y'all, we need to get involved. That's what Derek's saying. We're winding down. Derek, I'm gonna close your call here. Everybody watching, you went viral. They manhandled you, or they put their hands all over you. What are your final words to everybody watching on the live? Go ahead, Derek Smith.
My final words is just to ask everybody to get involved and to stop just giving people a free pass just because they're doing a tough job. I mean, it's nothing against the police officer or the mayor or anybody else. These are people who work for you, and they work in a capacity in which it is no different than an employee at any other place that you go and do business with. And when they treat you wrong, you have no problems with contacting management, with contacting corporate. And so they should stop looking at people who are trying to hold these people accountable as just wanting a payday or something, because that's not the case. You're forced into looking for a payday because you tried all reasonable means to get relief and do it in a reasonable, honorable fashion, such as point of order, Madam Speaker. That's proper decorum. It's not interrupting a meeting. I mean, if somebody sneezes, is that interrupting a meeting?
Right.
See, and so I just wish people would stop thinking along the lines of it's just hatred for government or hatred for, these are our representatives. It's our tax dollars. We have as much right to complain about how they do their job if they're doing it wrong or they're doing it poorly as we do any business we walk into and we get mistreated or we think that the price is too high. We think taxes are too high. And yet you need to shut up or you need to move. You know, why do the people who say these things not follow that advice when something in their life is not going the way that they want it? And so they speak up. Why don't they just shut up and move along like they're telling us? I mean, it's real weird how people in our world think. And we've got these questions being asked of what's caused all this animosity within our community and our country. What's caused it is a lack of respect of the rights of the constituents of the country, all of the citizens, by government and government officials, people who think that when they get in there, they can do whatever they want, they can treat people however they want. And these people are no different than back when we were in high school. We wouldn't let whoever won president of the school board sit here and treat the students this way. They'd probably get hauled out in the schoolyard and get their nose busted open, is what would happen to them back in school. And these people are no different than your student council. And so they should be showing us respect, just like the students. That's why we have government in school. That's why you have, a student council, is to teach these kids that, yeah, you got put in this position, but these are your peers, and you still got to be in class with them and walk the halls with them and do all this. And so you don't go around treating them like garbage.
And plus, they work for us. Hey, but Derek, Christy's texting me. She has to hang the phone up. But I appreciate it, Derek Smith. Okay. Everybody, the man that got kicked out, we'll have him in the studio pretty soon. Thank you, Derek, and thank you for your service. God bless you.
Yeah, God bless. Have a good day.
Okay. Christy has a Google phone, y'all, or something. Something's wrong with her phone. What were you say?
I was going to say, I don't know why, but whenever I have more than two people on and I toggle between Facebook and YouTube, it makes my phone overheat.
Okay, so can you stay back on? We're fixing in right now.
It'll start clumping down now.
So, thank you to Derek. We're going to have him in the studio real quick. I want to go to some questions real quick. Jacob Reyes has actually a good question. It says, with all the conservatives between Odessa and Midland, you think people would rally together and put someone good in charge of our cities? We had some people, but I'm going to be honest. Now, Derek said what he saw in the poll watching situation, but every person that we saw or we spoke to when we block walked, we did it quite a bit. Shout out Kayla Maga, is only about 1%, if not less, like Lori Blanc. Sis, we did not, and if you look at her and how she acts and her face and how she's so smug, nobody really likes the woman. It's like probably 1 out of 20 houses, if probably 1 out of 30 were supporters of Lori Blanc. From social media to us block walking, we did not see any support for Lori Blanc. So this person saying that why didn't we have conservatives, uprising? I believe we actually did. But I'm going to say something else is kind of weird. During the election, they had horrible turnouts for early voting. And I'm not saying this some weird things happening, but come to find out that the third or fourth day of early voting, we caught wind they had a meeting at Gerardo's, right? With old sorry Jerry Morales, that piece of work. ex-mayor. They had a meeting there, we heard. And it's very interesting. The next day, their numbers shot up. And I'm going to add this because someone brought up Diamondback. I thought it was very odd that happened. Then when you put into the picture oil field companies that Lori Blanc's tied into, I would just say this, and I'm not trying to put no crazy smut on anyone's name, but I felt like favors were called in. That's what I'm going to honestly say. And at a certain point in the local election, the numbers were horrible for early voting. And after that meeting they had, numbers all shot up. And if you know who Lori Blanc's connected to, Jerry Morales and all the local sewer in Midland, then you start understanding how politics works in Midland. And I'll even say that Terry Johnson alluded to this, even though we don't like him or support him. He actually came out and said that the powers that be, he stated this, that it was time for him to go. They didn't want him no longer. So he lost. And I'm not saying that's a cop-out for him, but he did state that. So I say that to say this. Biblically, the people get the rulers they deserve. But besides that point is, I think there's actually something more deeper in Midland with the political scene, who pulls the strings, and really the mayor really don't got the power. I believe people, maybe donors, people in higher positions of power. The Bible talks about spiritual wickedness in high places, principalities and all that. But I believe there's a different kind of stronghold on our city, especially with the sin, the oil, the money, the love of money. Everything happening in our city, I believe there's a supernatural element to all this, and I'm not trying to get off in the weeds with, my religious beliefs, but I believe there's a stronghold on this city, and I believe it's spiritual, and I do believe it is also a physical stronghold of the city, especially with the oil. And you start connecting the dots on who owns what company, who serves on what board, what school board, what nonprofit board, what any board of a company. When you start piecing things together on who sits on what position of power, then it starts to all make sense. So back to the question, yeah.
Whenever
You hold on, sis. You would think conservatives will come out, but Lori Blanc says she's a conservative. She tried to say that what we're doing is not MAGA. She's a freaking lie. I've never seen her say nothing about Trump. I'm a day one Trumper, baby. This is real MAGA right here, holding my elected officials accountable and going out there and speaking against him, even when I'm alone. At the Omni Hotel, I was there, me and Derek Smith, and I was lifting my voice at the city gate, rebuking them for using my money for their wicked, evil doings and being having illegal doings, should I say, and doing wrong things. I'm trying to sit here and say it correctly. They were doing wrong things with our taxpayer dollars and funding things illegally, and I went and I rebuked them and I stood up against these people. So back to this point of conservatives, Lori Blanc and all of them claim they're conservatives. Are they? I don't think so. And who really pulls the strings? We have ideas, but we don't know exactly who to point the finger at for sure, because I don't know if we'll ever know. Go ahead, sis. Sorry.
Yes. No, I was just going to say, whenever you were talking about the stronghold over Midland and all that, anywhere there's money, there's evil. And I really do believe that money is the root of all evil.
Well, the love of money.
Especially to all these big corporations.
Mm-hmm.
The love of money, exactly.
Jacob says,
yep.
I wish I knew where to start on researching what's going on in Odessa and who's in charge. People told me, Nino, come to Odessa, but I'm going to be honest, brother, everybody listening, I already got enough of my hands full with Midland. I honestly wish, I told Christi earlier, I saw that video with Cooper. I said, damn, I wish I could hit it rich and make a DVD or, strike it rich like he did. He made a movie back in the DVD days and got rich for a certain time. I wish I could do this more often and put more time into this. But, I run a trucking company. I'm a family man, but, Odessa has problems too. Odessa and Midland, really any city in the United States, especially in Texas, we got problems, y'all. And with leaders like Lori Blanc, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care, Stuart Doreen, with all respect to him, I respect the man, but he's working for a corrupt machine that allows people like Tommy Gonzalez to come here, bring his people from El Paso, come here and make positions up for even their spouses. We know about it all. And hold on. And the point is, this is the corruption we're up against, where a mayor is weaponizing the police force to treat us citizens like criminals. We are not criminals. We are family men. We are concerned citizens. We are Christians. We are patriots. And we're there at the council meetings to lift our voice and to speak with our elected officials. And there she is threatening to arrest us by these scumbag police that can't even stay married. This loser Chatwell. Go ahead.
I was just going to say about fell off of my chair whenever Stuart Doreen just said that he thought I did a good job
You
tonight,
did. You
and
did.
I've never disliked him, and I think that he is very smart in the things that he does. I just hate that he is always so like protective of them, and
Well, he has to be.
doesn't want to hear
He
anything.
works for them. He has to be protected for them. Let's be honest. Like you think he can really criticize them online? I don't think that's possible.
That's just the difference with me and a lot of people. If you're doing wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're doing wrong.
Amen. And that's it, y'all. I know we did a long live tonight, y'all. But this is really what's floating our boat right now, y'all. This is really what I like to do. People say that I do it for. I don't even want to keep addressing it, but clicks and views. But this stuff, I mean, it does get some pretty good clicks and views after a while, right? But it's not what I do it for. You know, I don't want to go to these meetings. I don't want to sit there for 3 hours to speak for 3 minutes and then get threatened by arrest by half the damn police force. You know, my wife is actually concerned for my safety. John Burkholder, that coward, he talks about he's concerned for his safety. His wife don't want to leave the house. Hogwash. Bro, we've had real threats on our lives. We've been to the FBI and everything. And now I got the police, the mayor, I got everybody mad at me. And John and Burkholder's all afraid of this. He's all walking around with the police. Man, I should have the police escorting me around with all the threats we got from Scott Dufford and Mayor Lori Blanc saying I need to be silent. My daughter said, damn, Dad, what does she mean that she wants you stopped? My daughter said that. She heard Lori Blanc on the radio say that I need to be stopped. She said, Dad, what does she mean? She said, Dad, she wants you stopped. What does she mean by that? I said, Mama's, I don't know. I never threatened the mayor. I never threatened Burkholder or any council members. We've been threatened. I should have the police escorting me out of there. No, they're kicking me out. They're trying to grab me by my collar and kick me out the damn meeting. And I'm a Christian. We've never been violent.
And they hate me by association.
Yeah. And rightfully so. Let's be honest. We on the same ship, sis. But the point is, I'm a Christian. Yep. I'm passionate, okay? I might be a little aggressive. But you know what? I'm not violent, okay? I'm passionate the way I speak, the way I conduct myself. I'm doing for the tax-paying citizen. And there they are with the police force targeting us, harassing us, and threatening to arrest us at a city council meeting. This is very alarming for anybody watching this far. Remember what I said. I'm in Midland, but this is happening in Odessa, San Angelo, Abilene, Amarillo, every city with the council, with the city council, which is basically everyone incorporated in the state of Texas. In any city, you have a council that's there, and hopefully they're doing right by the tax-paying citizen. Thank God, Pecos, I think it was today, the first, they fired Tommy Gonzalez. Praise God. And hopefully Kermit does it next, and hopefully Midland does it. And these are two things I want to say. People say we don't have no solutions. This is what I want. I want Tommy Gonzalez, the city manager, to get fired whenever. I wish it would happen today. I want his contract to be terminated, and I want him fired from the city of Midland, and I want the MDC dissolved. I want to get rid of the Economic Development Corporation. Those are my two solutions that I believe will bring transparency and will bring a flourishing economy to the city of Midland. To fire Tommy Gonzalez and to get rid of the Midland Development Corporation. Final words, Christi, go ahead.
You know, I just think that with all the information that is, it's just every day, everything that's coming out. I think whenever the whole story comes out and people really get to see it, their eyes are going to be, opened.
It's going to be legendary, sis. Once all this is said and done, our group, Defend Midland's already, 7,000 people in there. It's growing. All our hater groups, the lameoids and all them, even the disinfo, Lori's other friend over there making her weak page, they got nothing on us. We're exposing these people, and just wait till the police department, the bad apples get pointed out. Y'all wait till y'all hear what we know about the Midland Police Department, about the certain bad apples. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But just wait, it's coming, and we're gonna do a full expose on these corrupt police in Midland. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm not against the police. I'm against bad police. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I just agree with you that these people have to be terminated. Things have to change, and we're part of it.
Their positions. Hold on, their contracts and positions need to be terminated, sis. We don't want them to be saying that we're saying anything else. Got to clarify with these people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is, with the way that Defend Midland has grown, the
Crazy.
people that I see in there saying, I wish I would have went and voted, that is what prompted my post the other night. You have to show up at elections. You have to do that. And the people now that are regretful that they didn't,
Look,
it's coming out. People are seeing.
look what happened. Anybody wants to stay updated with us, even if you don't live in Midland, look, join Defend Midland group, and you're going to see exactly how we do it. To be honest, my plan is this, right? I'm a local watchdog. That's just what I ended up turning out to be. As a Christian, I'm a watchman on the wall, here to warn them all, right? But the point is, I want to eventually have I guess I would say a list or a format for anyone that learns how to work with their city government, basically how to have a checklist, right? How to check your local government, how to do it the right way, the legal way, hold them accountable. Hopefully one day, that's what I'm working on. I want to have basically a checklist for people can download whatever for free, where they can start holding their city accountable, because we're learning as we go. And we're connecting with other cities that are having similar issues. But my plan is to organize, and I would like to unite with other cities, which we are kind of doing. But I want to at least for sure have me a list of a checklist on how to start checking your own city. That way, you don't just jump in this blind. I can give you, or you can download a digital file, and you can start seeing how it all works, who to question, what to look for, what to send open records requests, FOIAs, and everything. I want to actually make that accessible to all my patriots out there that want to start checking their local government. Because I wish I had a list. I'm learning as I go. I wish I had a list, sis, that showed me, hey, do this, check this, send the FOIA
like
for
an
this.
audit. Yep.
Exactly. Where they can't get one over on you. So that's my plan. I want to give a shout out to Super Chats, y'all. Thank you to HC 1706 gave a super chat. He said, from a fellow Odessa vacuum truck driver. Go on, dude. God bless you. Thank you. And shout out to my boy El Centenario. That's the homie right there. Big baller. Said, keep your foot on respect my G. Shout out to Super Chats, y'all. Thank you everybody watching this long. We went 2 hours. We kept
And
about
thank
40
you for the
people on
Go
here.
Coin too.
Thank you for the coins, homeboy. And thank you to everybody that watched here and commented. We have, 220 comments? Wow. I'm telling you, this stuff is interesting. I'll leave it at this, y'all. I love Trump. That's my guy. National politics, I made a lot of my bone, how you say, my bread and butter was national politics, but I focus to my city. And I'm going to tell you right now, if this is happening in a little Bible Belt, Bible town, Christian town, supposedly conservative Trump town like Midland, which has changed, it's happening in your city, Holmes. Anybody watching, you better take heed if you care. Really, to be honest, it's kind of like my wife says. Sometimes she kind of wish she didn't even know about this stuff because it's overwhelming. It can basically take over your life. You can sit here and get just, how do you say it? You can get just infatuated with this stuff, y'all. But the point is, your city is probably doing things my city's doing, if not worse things. But my city's pretty bad at this point, y'all, for real. So with that, God bless everybody watching. Thank you for your time. Thank you for checking us out. We're on all platforms. Christi MAGA, Nino America. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going to stop. And I don't stand with corrupt, crooked police. I expose them like I expose corrupt politicians, especially locally. Christi, thank you. God bless everybody in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Y'all have a blessed weekend. And we'll probably go live again. Thank you, sis.
You're welcome. Good night. Good night, everybody.